Hi everyone, welcome back to our Azure DevOps learning series. On the last session, we have learned about how to create a different type of artifacts, which include our pipeline artifact followed by our Azure artifact. In the today's session, we will go a one step deeper where we can see how to consume the pipeline artifact onto the deployment stage and what all different other things and add the approver gate onto your deployment pipeline so that when you move from the build to the deployment, someone can verify whether the build has been completed successfully or all those basic checks, and then only after approval the deployment pipeline get trigger. Again, it's an optional. You can add it, you can skip it as well. Let's see how that can be done. On the last session, we have gone through with the build pipeline of creating the different artifacts. We have used the same pipeline here with the name as stage build, and you can see the same thing that we have done with the publishment of my pipeline artifact followed by pack and push of the Azure artifact. Today's session, we have created the another stage for the consumption of the pipeline artifact. In this stage, you can see that we have set it up first the condition depends on in order to make sure that my stage 2, which is the deployment of the pipeline artifact, can only be triggered or started when my build stage has been completed in order to make it sequential, not the parallel. Okay, that is where we have used the depends on. And the second one is the condition that I want this stage only to be executed when there is a succeed, followed by the jobs that has been defined under this. But the most important part of the build pipeline or wherever you want to be make more control on your deployment side, we have added the environment variable. What is this environment? On the pipeline, on the left side, Azure DevOps has given us an option to create an environment. That is where we can create the environment. And if you can see here, I've created one of the environment with the name as dev. With this environment, I have added one thing that is more important to be added approvals, that this stage is going to be triggered only if someone from the list of the approvers can approve my stage. How that can be done? On the environment side, there is an option of approvals and checks. That is where you can go ahead and add as many approval as you want. And there are different conditions that you can set it up, whether one person can do, whether multiple person can do, or all of them that you have mentioned up here can approve your pipeline. So those are the different conditions that you can add it up, or the different approvals that you can add it up, and the condition on top of that you can define those configuration. That is the most important part of the environment to be created within your pipeline to have more control onto the deployment side. Once you define the environment, once you define the approvals, followed by the next step in order to the deployment is to download the artifact that created as part of the pipeline. So that is what needs to be done, as download the artifact, pass the same artifact name which has been used above to create an artifact so that it can be used. Once this download has been done, after that you can execute any task or anywhere that you want to be deploy this artifact. You can define the task. For the demo perspective, I have just put a script in order to use the echo and dir just to be display what has been downloaded here. But that is the place after the download where you can add your own task, right, in order to deploy your artifact either onto the Azure VM or any other VM, or if you want to be deployed onto the Azure App Service as a web app or Azure function. Again, That is how you have written the code. Based upon that, you can define your deployment resource that where you want to be get it deployed. Now let's see, considering only this part for the demo, that how the pipeline artifact can be done. Let's jump over to our pipeline. I've created this pipeline as a complete pipeline. So let me execute it. You can see it here, the different stages. We will go through only with the stage 1 and 2 for now, and we'll talk about stage 3, which is Azure Artifact, on to our next video. So let me go ahead and trigger it out my pipeline with the name as complete pipeline, the YAML file that we have created. And you will see here that my initial stage is build, followed by my next stage is deploy pipeline artifact, because I have set it up in a way that this stage is depend upon only the build. And once this has been succeeded, then only my next stage got triggered. So let's open it up and then see. Okay, our build has been started it up. This is the same way that we did last time in our last session to create the different type of artifact with the different commands. So let's get this to be completed. We will verify whether the artifact get created with the same artifact name that we have given in the YAML file, and then followed by we will verify that whether our download artifact stage will ask me first for the approval that we discussed about the environment perspective, where we have defined the approvers, followed by once this has been approved, whether the pipeline get trigger and download our artifact or not. That is what we are going to be verify in this video. And let's see, let's get this build to be completed pretty quickly. Now you can see our publishment part has been done with the name as drop. So this particular task get completed successfully, and we have one artifact that got generated within this pipeline. Now the next stage which is going on, okay, our build part has been done. Now it is coming up to our next stage. Let's quickly refresh this one and figure it out whether it came to the next particular stage or not. Click on this one. Yes. Now you can see as soon as I click on the pipeline artifact stage, it did not automatically trigger it. It is waiting for, based upon the dev environment that has been set it up, it is waiting for me because I've given my name, or if you want to give any lead name or any names, you can pass it on. It will wait for them to review and approve it or reject it. Based upon that, if I can approve with the optional command that you want to be passed, approve to deploy, and then approve it. As soon as you do it, only that particular stage, you can see this has been triggered. Any other stage, if you have put it up, the condition is not going to be triggered directly. That also needs someone to approve that particular stage and proceed. But for now, for this particular demo, we will stick on to our pipeline artifact stage that has been triggered now, and we will wait for whether it will download our artifact and the code that has been written into the YAML will execute successfully or not. So let's wait for this stage to be get completed, and then we will see how it is working. Okay, so this has been started. Our download artifact, you can see this one, this has been completed. So you can see this stage from my drop downloaded the artifact, and we just quickly verified whether you can see it has been downloaded. It's been there, whatever be there, it has been downloaded and is available to be consumed for any task that you want to be mentioned as part of this deployment stage. Thank you so much. On our next session, we will talk about how to use the Azure artifact, which you can see the stage that has been created, how that has been used, and how you can specify a different version that is needed for a different type of stage or the environment you are going to be use those artifacts. So you can define the different version as and when needed from the artifact field. Thank you so much.